Well, concerning to the first question you made about the equipment, it's the same thing I said before. Some friends make like a cooperative. There's a director, the same scriptwriter, but then the technicians, all normally they're friends, and they decide to make a film. How do they get the equipment? Well, most of them are from our university. We have like a big, huge amount of things we'll give, of course, to our students. We make around 35 feature films a year with our equipment. The others, I think they rent or they have their own cameras. Oh, today is very easy. Anyone has a camera, and with a small camera you can make a film. Then you can blow up to 35 millimeters. This globalization made it easier to make a film. That's good. That's not good. And then for our independent films, the big cost is the film, the positive film. That's the only thing I think the filmmakers pay, because Kodak or Fuji never give the film for free. So if you have the money to buy the film, then you have a movie. That's it.
Did you ever have a film where you don't go to theatrical release, but rather than DVD or VOD sale, and if the film matches you, the sale
I have never by plan, you know, and I have to say those situations didn't really yield sufficient funds to actually cover the cost of the film, so the investors lose. Of course, the great advantage is that the film has a life. It's in the world. People are able to see it and experience it, which is very important, of course, to all the filmmakers. I want to pick up something about the whole notion of the cooperative as well. You know, I think one thing that's really destructive in our system is that it is so much geared towards this looking towards Hollywood and how can one achieve that kind of success. And even Sundance has fed into it in a really pretty vigorous and disturbing way. And you know, it's very competitive. It's actually very uncooperative. You know, it's all about money. Even when you do things cheaply, it is still about the money. It's just about smaller amounts of money, and people actually get more vicious as they fight over it. And I think it's not good for the art form of film. I mean, there's a business side of film, fine, that's by definition going to be absorbed into these business structures. But I think for young filmmakers, particularly filmmakers in school, starting off with this orientation of wanting to be successful and move to Hollywood, is actually doesn't necessarily allow them to explore their art form. And in fact, things can be done very directly, very inexpensively if people pull their resources together. You see elements of it, but then there's a kind of contempt for it, though, and almost like an embarrassment, and it's not respectable. You're supposed to move up and to be successful and to work in the studios.
But for us as independent filmmakers, it just seems that these institutions or organizations want to go Hollywood.
Yeah, I think it's that. I mean, there's another reality that, of course, people make a successful
money.
To be able to make a successful career. But I think that you can pursue dual tracks. You could be, you know, a working filmmaker in commercial films, and you could be doing these things in parallel in more of a cooperative setting. You know, I think we would have a much more vibrant film culture, and actually you can extend those models to distribution as well. So, you know, I mean, that would be, you know, my sort of advice to younger filmmakers is try to just forget achieving this sort of this type of typical and mainstream success, and think of all the other possibilities, you know, and look outside those normal channels.
One last question before we break out to the reception that we have outside, that we welcome you all to please join us. One last question.
I'm going to say my question in Spanish first, and then in English. It's mostly for Susana. Yo soy venezolana, y en países como el mío, que está altamente polarizado, pasa, por ejemplo, mucho ahorita que jóvenes que tienen proyectos cinematográficos y los quieren realizar y que no tienen el dinero para financiarlos, van a instituciones gubernamentales, o por ejemplo la Villa del Cine, y sí hay un factor ideológico que tiene mucho peso. O sea, si no son temas en línea, digamos, con la línea del gobierno, no se los van a financiar. Entonces yo quisiera saber, digamos, en Cuba, cómo hacen ese sentido. Basically, to sum up in English, I'm from Venezuela, and in countries that are highly polarized, like mine, young filmmakers that want to get their films financed, that have to go to government entities to get this financing. If their films aren't kind of in line with the government's ideology, you just won't get them made. I've had friends that have had their films rejected, and all the movies that I see coming from La Villa del Cine all have to do with, you know, Simón Bolívar or Fidel or Chavez. So I'm just wondering, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, I'm just wondering how is it handled in Cuba in that way, and how can we go around that in a sense?
Bueno, te voy a contar un poquito de historia, es decir,
Date cuenta que esta gente quiere tomar el vinito.
Sí,
Okay.
estoy hablando despacio porque después no traducen bien lo que digo, por eso estoy tratando de hablar despacio. En el caso específico de Cuba, la selección de los guiones lo hace un comité de cineastas, es decir, los cineastas se reúnen y escogen cada 2 años quiénes van a ser los cineastas que van a elegir los guiones que va a producir el Estado cubano específicamente. Es decir, el Estado cubano pone el dinero a los guiones que escogen los propios realizadores cubanos. Pero la pregunta que me estás haciendo tiene también otra respuesta, y es que si uno quiere conocer Cuba, si uno quiere conocer la realidad cubana, con sus virtudes y sus defectos, puede acercarse a la cinematografía cubana, porque la cinematografía cubana puede haber una película, 2, 3 películas que puedan tener un carácter propagandístico sobre la ideología que prima en Cuba, pero las películas cubanas tienen primero es decir, se seleccionan por su nivel artístico, por su compromiso con la cultura y la sociedad cubana en general. Es decir, tú vas al cine y si esta semana has tenido la oportunidad de ver alguna de las películas cubanas que se han mostrado en este festival específicamente, La Anunciación, El Premio Flaco, Los Dioses Rotos, ninguna de esas películas constituyen una propaganda del gobierno cubano, todo lo contrario. Y están tratando de buscar dentro de la sociedad cubana cuáles son los problemas que tienen los cubanos, la prostitución, los problemas sociales de cualquier tipo que existen en Cuba hoy como pueden existir en cualquier país del mundo. Y en ese sentido, yo, si de algo me siento orgullosa, yo soy funcionaria del Instituto de Cine de Cuba, es de la honestidad de los realizadores de cine en Cuba, que hacen la obra como ellos la quieren hacer y defendiendo siempre los puntos de vista que ellos tienen. Eso es una cosa que se respeta y que yo creo que por eso es que el cine cubano es tan seguido por el pueblo cubano, porque se ve ahí, y además de eso creo que también tiene una incidencia en el éxito que tiene el cine cubano fuera de Cuba.